Thunder, Claire. Roger pushed me out here because I had this was my first time seeing the movie, and I had such a strong reaction to it because, of course, we can relate to it 100%. And I'm so glad that someone sees an honest portrayal of what happens when someone, is beset by either a catastrophic illness or an accident that happens. Your life is one thing one day, you think you're right on top of the world, and just like that, and it's sometimes, Roger and I talk about the positive things, but I also do make sure that I tell people we went through very, very difficult times, very sad times. People who have catastrophic illness or accidents are in pain and get a lot of pain medication. And so when people write to us who are sick, I make sure that I tell them, we went through a period where Roger was on this pain medication, and I had to fight with the doctors to help start weaning him off of it because it's very, very difficult. I was so glad. Thank you for letting us see that and know the truth about what it's like to get from there to where you are today.
In about the year 2000, thank you. In about the year 2000, the accident was May 10th of 1999. It's going to be 11 years for me this May 10th. So, and it still definitely has its ups and downs. I've had several legs. I've had about 5 different legs. I've seen a wound care specialist more than I care to. And in about 2000 was when I had that breakdown when you saw some of the incredible footage, which, I think belonged there because you really needed to see the downfall as well as the positive of our career.
So in making this film, as you're watching these intimate details, what was going through your mind in terms of your involvement with the family, your involvement with the project? How would you talk about that?
Well, at first, as I mentioned before, I wanted to tell your story to help Lightning and Thunder out, and so I went the first visit, or maybe the second visit, and we went down to Chicago, and I felt like I was a roadie, and I tried to help. And while I'm a filmmaker, I found myself carrying and helping and driving and just doing things I could help to save your energy for the stage. And when I got home and reviewed the footage, and I shared it with the executive producer, who's my wife, who's right there, right there. She has to stand up, so there we go. So Andrea looked at it and she said, "Well, this is incredible, and they're incredible people, but I don't see it when I look at the footage." I'm like, but it was there. I mean, well, you need to film it, and that's how you can help them with your skill as a filmmaker, perhaps. So we took a fly on the next visit. We had a little talk, and I said, I'm going to have to be a fly on the wall, and literally. And Rachel, Thunder's daughter, gave me a really hard time all the time. Don't talk to him. He's a fly on the wall. And she still razzes me. So, and I was, and so it was, and I just tried to be a good listener and document what I saw the entire time.
I think one of the things that strikes me, this story is an incredibly triumphant one too, as well as the pain. There is a great sense of triumph that you have continued on, and Mike had such a rich and full life, it seemed. With everything that went on. And this documentary shows all of those things, and Claire specifically. I just wanted to ask you, all these trials and tribulations that you've been through, did you ever doubt your faith, really? Did you, because the documentary shows that faith is a significant part of your life. But how did you get tested by faith, and how did faith test you?
Oh, I definitely doubted my faith. In many times. I grew up from a strong Catholic Christian background. As you can see, my mother, who was a tremendous, give her a hand. My mother, she was wonderful, and I was happy to hear your reactions to her because, but spiritually, I was definitely tested. And, you know, at times you lose faith, but then something comes along, something happens that that makes it all worthwhile. And again, this whole story here has made it going to numerous film festivals and enjoying them and being a part of them, especially, you know, a part of this film festival. This week I've had a lot of chance to relax and see several films, and but my spirituality has definitely been tested throughout the course of this whole scenario, especially after May 10th of 1999.
And we should mention, this is the biggest audience that's ever seen the film at one time, and so that's a huge deal.
Wow.
Greg, you told me yesterday, I mean, this story actually sort of, through the making of the film, continued, and the involvement of some of the figures in the film continued up until it premiered, and Greg was telling me about getting the music rights clearances for the Neil Diamond tunes because, correct me if I'm wrong, you said this is the most Neil Diamond songs ever cleared for one movie, like ever, is that right?